Hello. In the Democratic presidential primary for the 2020 nomination, besides brother Bernie Sanders, who I have great admiration and respect for, and who I would love to see capture the nomination at the end of the process, it is United States Senator Kamala Harris, who I'm most intrigued with. And if you're looking for a good book to curl up with in bed, I can highly recommend her, The Truths We Hold, An American Journey by Kamala Harris. I strongly urge you to pick up a copy and read it. I want to read you a blurb about her biography, which gives you an idea of why I'm so intrigued by her candidacy. Kamala Harris is a lifelong public safety and civil rights leader, and is currently serving as a United States Senator from California. She began her career in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, then was elected District Attorney of San Francisco. As California's Attorney General, Harris prosecuted transnational gangs, big banks, big oil, and for-profit colleges. And if that's not enough, she fought against attacks on the Affordable Care Act, a woman after my own heart. The second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate, Harris has worked to reform our criminal justice system, raise the minimum wage, make higher education tuition-free for the majority of Americans, and protect the legal rights of refugees and immigrants. I just want to read a short passage, a short portion of her book to give you an idea of the heart that's behind Kamala Harris. As my mother's condition worsened, she needed more care than we could provide her. We wanted to hire a home health care aide to help her and me, but my mother didn't want help. "I'm fine, I don't need anybody," she would say, even though she could barely get out of bed. There was a fight to be had about it, but I didn't want to have it. Cancer, the disease she devoted her life to defeating, was now wreaking havoc on her. Her body was giving out. The medication was making it difficult for her to function, to be herself. I didn't want to be the one who took her dignity away. She ended up in the hospital not long after that. That was when I started to see another change. For as long as I could remember, my mother loved to watch the news and read the newspaper. When Maya and I were kids, she'd insist we sit down in front of Walter Cronkite each night before dinner. She loved to digest everything that was happening in the world. But suddenly, she had no more interest. Her mighty brain had decided it had had enough, though she still had room for us. I remember that I had just gotten into the Attorney General's race, and she asked me how it was going. "Mommy, these guys are saying they're going to kick my ass." My mother had been lying on her side. She rolled over, looked at me, and just unveiled the biggest smile. She knew who she had raised. She knew her fighting spirit was alive and well inside me. One night, Maya, Tony, Mina, and I were all at my mother's house when Aunt Mary and Aunt Lenore, who had flown into town, came for a visit. I decided to cook again. I'll never forget that night. I was making Alice Waters' recipe for beef stew. I had browned the cubes of beef, and they were cooking down in red wine. And all of a sudden, my brain figured out what was happening around me. I started to hyperventilate, short breaths in and out. I felt like I might faint. All of a sudden, the delusion was gone. I had to face reality. I was going to lose my mother, and there was nothing I could do. We called our uncle in India to let him know that our mother was just too sick to make a visit there. He got on a plane from Delhi to see her. I now realize that she waited for his arrival, waited to say goodbye. She passed away the very next morning. One of the last questions she asked the hospice nurse, the last concern on her mind was, Are my daughters going to be okay? She was focused on being our mother until the very end. And though I miss her every day, I carry her with me wherever I go. I think of her all the time. Sometimes I look up and talk to her. I love her so much. And there is no title or honor on earth I'll treasure more than to say, I am Shyamala Gopalan Harris's daughter. That is the truth I hold dearest of all. And just to finish up, the last thoughts of Kamala Harris in her book are as follows. My daily challenge to myself is to be part of the solution, to be a joyful warrior in the battle to come. My challenge to you is to join that effort, to stand up for our ideals and our values. Let's not throw up our hands when it's time to roll up our sleeves. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. Years from now, our children and our grandchildren will look up and lock eyes with us. They will ask us where we were when the stakes were so high. They will ask us what it was like. I don't want us to just tell them how we felt. I want us to tell them what we did. My friends, Kamala Harris has the kind of heart of pain, empathy, and compassion that I'd like to see in my next president of the United States. This is a long, long presidential primary journey. But I would be very, very pleased if she would cap it off with the nomination for the presidency of the United States. But if that doesn't happen, I would strongly urge whoever the nominee might be, whether it be Brother Bernie Sanders or anyone else, to strongly consider Senator Kamala Harris for the ticket. Because I have to tell you, I would love to see this woman, this strong, purposeful woman in the White House, serving in either as president or vice president. The Truths We Hold, an American Journey. I urge you to pick it up, take a look, see what's inside Senator Harris's heart, and give her some really serious consideration. Like I said, this is a long, long presidential primary journey, and I have no idea what it's going to be like at the end of the process. But I urge you all to seriously consider Senator Harris. Just as I cheer on my very good friend, Senator Bernie Sanders, who I have deep respect and admiration for, I also would like to see Senator Kamala Harris at the end of this process with a spot on the ticket.